Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. We have a distinguished person this morning, Miss Paula Carballido. She's the president of the North Chicago Exchange Club. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks. How are you today?
We're very happy that you've taken time for your busy schedule to be with us on the Community Focus. Lake County is approximately 800,000 people. But I don't know how many up at 5 a.m. this morning listen to the program. But we are very happy that you've taken your time to come down to the studio to talk about all the good things that are happening in the North Chicago Exchange Club. First of all, tell our listening audience a little bit about Paula, a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Okay. I'm a graduate of Highland Park High School, class of 2001. And I'm happily employed with Skokie Valley Laundry and Dry Cleaners in Highwood for the past 8 years. Mm-hmm. And I moved into the city of North Chicago last September, after much prayer and leaving a comfortable home with my parents. Okay. I decided that I wanted to invest more of my time in North Chicago, therefore I wanted to live there as well. So I made that decision, and it was a great decision, and I'm very appreciative of everyone that has welcomed me into the community.
Paula, I'm a community activist, and we're very happy to have you in North Chicago, too, because you are definitely a community activist among the other titles that you have. But tell us about one of the challenging experiences that you've had. You've the president of the North Chicago Exchange Club. Tell us about the history of the North Chicago Exchange Club.
The North Chicago Exchange Club has been around since 2008. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary this past summer. Mm-hmm. And we started out with, some charter members. I think it was about 15 of them. Mm-hmm. One of them being Mayor Leon Rockingham. Okay. And, he had seen that other surrounding communities had exchange clubs and the great work that they were doing, mm-hmm. and decided that he would like to charter one in his city as well. So that was the beginning of our exchange club in 2008.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of your mission, goals, and objectives.
Definitely. When I joined the Exchange Club, it was just over a brief conversation with the president of North Chicago Community Bank, Teresa McSee. Okay. And I happened to run into her, and she was telling me about some of the projects that they were doing. And one of those projects was painting over graffiti in some of the areas, in the garages. And I thought that was a great idea. And I said, well, how can I join? And she invited me to a meeting, and I went. And the Exchange Club is one of America's premier service clubs. And they basically work together to make our communities better places to live. And a lot of us Exchange Club members hold near and dear to our hearts the core values, which are family, community, and country. Mm-hmm. And seeing that really attracted me to the club. Mm-hmm. And I came in with a whole lot of energy. I was younger than some of the other members, and I was just ready to work. What mm-hmm. can we do to make this community better? Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful to the members that, I'd come in with these ideas and they'd be like, it's kind of out there. And I'd be like, let's just give it a try. Let's just try something new. And sure enough, 3 years later, I was president, and I've been president. This is my second term now. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're the exemplary person that you're listening to is Paula Carballido, president of the North Chicago Exchange Club. And I'd like to congratulate you because when you guys started out, you were meeting at the same location at the North Chicago Rotary Club meet. Mm-hmm. And the North Chicago Rotary Club has been around since, March 29, I think. About the fifth largest club in the district. But you guys have double our membership, and you moved to a new location.
Yes,
where's your location?
Yeah, we moved about a year and a half ago, and we're currently meeting at 1801 Sheridan Road, Suite 103, and we meet the first and third Tuesday of every month at 5:45 p.m. And it's an empty front, office space there that the city allows us, and they've been very great, kind to let us meet there. And it's a good proximity to the Veterans Memorial Park, where we do, projects throughout the year, like the Memorial Day service and our honor flight send-off. So that's, very, it's just a great location for us. And seeing that our treasurer, is a couple doors down, it's convenient for her as well. That's Teresa at North Chicago Community Bank. We currently, when I started off, like I said, 2008, they started off with about 15 members, and we're up to about 55 now.
Wow.
So, yeah, we are growing. So, it's very awesome to see, members coming in, every month, and people bring in new people, and everyone really has just the skills and talents that they have amaze me every single day. And to work with such a unique team where everyone works together and, takes on their projects, and they, see it from beginning to end, and they successfully complete it, and we all celebrate, and then we're on to the next project. So
I mentioned about the North Chicago Rotary Club, but we started in 1929, so we're 84 years old, and we're the oldest service organization in the country. But the Exchange Club, we hear a lot about the Exchange Club, but you're a service organization also, then, right? Yeah,
we some of the the projects that we work, they fall under 4 of our pillars, which is Americanism, community service, youth programs, and our national project, which is the Child Abuse Prevention project. And so we worked with the schools on some anti-bullying essays with the students. We worked with some churches to do Thanksgiving turkeys for needy family. We worked with the Navy base in the Great Lakes Training Center, where we adopted 3 sailors last year for Thanksgiving. Wow. And they came, into our homes. And we do our annual fundraiser, which is coming up October 19th at North Chicago Community High School. It's our 4th annual Harlem Ambassadors versus North Chi Exchange basketball show game. And it's entertaining for the whole family. And it's rare to be able to find nowadays a place where you can take a family of 4 for $20 to have fun and entertainment for 2 hours. And so that's our annual fundraising project. And, we're currently selling tickets for that. So they're $5 a piece. And then all children under the age of 5 are free. Enter free into the event. And with that project, we started that 4 years ago. 2 years ago, the president of the Harlem Ambassadors, he actually came to us and said their training camp used to be in Colorado. Okay. And that's where they were based out of. And for those of you that don't know what the Harlem Ambassadors are, they deliver a quality basketball show to their audience throughout the United States and internationally. The show is designed to be fun for all customers of all ages, with youngsters being awed for the first time and older folks enjoying the tied and true gags like a rerun of a favorite comedy show. The Ambassadors operate in a professionally in all aspects, and in addition, they have a wholesome family entertainment product that they are also good citizens and willing role models for youth, promoting the values of staying in school, staying off drugs, and fostering racial harmony. He came to us 2 years ago and said that he had relocated to Illinois and he wanted to relocate his training camp. And would we be willing to partner with him to be able to host their training camp, which is a 10-day training camp? We'd host their lodging and a meal per day. And they would also, in turn, give us the stay in school, stay off drug assembly programs for our North Chicago elementary and junior high school. And we jumped at the idea of wanting to participate with this project. And we did. Last year was our first year hosting their training camp. And we just finished hosting the second year here in North Chicago of their 16th season for their Harlem Ambassadors training camp. And that was successful. And we partnered with several different people from Forest City to Great Lakes Community Center, the City of North Chicago, the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 131, Pamdale, Children of Purpose, Wolfpack Motorcycle Club. I mean, all these entities came together to be able to provide Navy Lodge to make their stay, memorable. Make sure they had home cooked meals with Rob's Catering Delight. So it was a very interesting 10 days for them and fun, and they get to see the city of North Chicago. We had a meet and greet for them as well. At our meeting location, introduce the members to our community. That was.
So no relation to the Harlem Globetrotters, then, right?
No, not at all. They're,
but they're very unique because they're to be eligible. He got eligibility requirements.
Yeah,
right?
they have eligibility requirements. They have to have college degrees, and they have, and currently a lot of those players are attending school to get, a bachelor's or a master's. And so that's really, interesting to see that they can do this and still continue to get a higher education, than what they came in with.
Free of drugs and
positive role models. And they did share their stories in 8 of our school assemblies here in North Chicago. One of them, they also came to Dr. Daisy Brooks's Alternative School Center with the coach, Lady Magic, who's our queen of basketball show, we call her.
Oh, you mentioned that women, too, are participants.
Yes, yeah,
right?
that's
like she's a coach, huh?
Yeah, the coach is a female, and she is just one energetic, woman and very special to us. She's taken us into her family, and we've adopted her as well. And they do have 2 female players as well on the team. So that's, it's unique to see both male and females being able to come together.
And this is a professional night that if people want to come out. Let's repeat that. You said that's October 19th.
Saturday, October 19th.
In North Chicago, can you say?
North Chicago High School.
Okay.
That's located at 1717 17th Street at 4 p.m. The doors open at 3:30, and you guys can see them warm up, and the game starts at 4.
A great night for only $5 per person.
$5 per person, and it all goes to, help us here at the Exchange Club of North Chicago be able to fund our projects throughout the year and our veterans trips as well.
Okay, and this is your main fundraiser event for the year.
Yes.
Oh, this is fantastic. Now, in addition to the Harlem Ambassadors fundraising event, you also support the World War II veterans. Tell us about that.
Well, we had a unique partnership about in the November of 2011 with, now he's gone home to be with the Lord, Frank Wortham. We met at First Baptist Church, and we were discussing the recent unveiling of the Martin Luther King monument in D.C., to the public. And, I discussed I'd never been to D.C., and I'd love to see the monument and some of the other memorials. And he said, haven't been there myself to see any of the memorials. And I said, you know what, maybe we can take a trip. And this is prior to us finding out about Honor Flight. And so Mr. Wortham invited me to his group's meetings, which is the World War II Black Navy Veterans of Great Lakes. And that following December, the following month, they had a Christmas celebration. So he invited us to come to the celebration, and I met some of the veterans and kind of pitched the idea of how many of them would like to go on this, free, no cost to the veteran to Washington, D.C., and we, the Exchange Club of North Chicago, would figure out a way to fund it, fundraising. And we had 5 other veterans that agreed to go. So January of 2012, we had our first fundraiser for Black History Month. And we had the veterans tell their stories. And then we had a cupcake fundraising sale. And then that April of 2012, we took 6 local veterans to Washington, D.C. We took 2 Vietnam veterans, 2 World War II veterans, a former Gulf War veteran, and a former Marine. And we did a 3-day trip. We left out on Friday. We had the community come out and have a send-off for them. That Saturday, we did the tours of the memorial sites, a private tour of the Capitol through our congressman at that time, Robert Dole. And we had a great, dinner that evening, had a great night's sleep, and the next day we woke up, got on the plane, and came back home.
Now, this was done all with the fundraising efforts that you have done, right?
Yes, yeah. It was very special. We thank everyone in the community that helped us, with the fundraisers and buying cupcakes, and we also had a calendar, that we built and we with people in the community, and we sold those as a fundraiser as well. So yeah, we were able to successfully take the veterans on their trip, and during that same time, Honor Flight Network was actually on a trip that same weekend that we were in DC. So the New Sun reported on us and the Honor Flight trip, which was the same weekend. So Honor Flight saw what we had done and reached out and said, you guys may want to think about starting your own hub since you did this and you did this all on your own. I said, it's not a bad idea. So a year later, we are getting our paperwork in. And we were already planning our second year to take, the veterans under just the Exchange Club of North Chicago umbrella. When we got our approval letter from the Honor Flight Network in May, and we were like, wow, this is really quick, quickly for us. So we wanted to put our scheduled trip on hold so that we can take our first trip this year under the Honor Flight umbrella. So we had our ribbon cutting ceremony August of this year, and we started reaching out to some veterans the end of July. And the weekend of September 13th through the 15th, we had our very first Honor Flight of Lake County send-off with our veterans.
Now, this is under the umbrella of the North Chicago Exchange Club.
Yes, the Lake County Honor Flight Hub is under the Exchange Club of North Chicago umbrella, and we were the first and only Exchange Club in the nation that has taken such a measure to initiate the Honor Flight Hub under their umbrella. And the mission of Honor Flight is to transport America's veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit their memorials dedicated to honor their service and sacrifice.
Oh, man, this is fantastic. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Paula Carballido, president of the North Chicago Exchange Club. And you want to know what good things that are happening in North Chicago? Well, Paula is the one to contact. Now, the eligibility for joining the Exchange Club.
The eligibility, anybody can join. People always say, do you have to live in North Chicago? I don't live in North Chicago. A lot of our members don't live in North Chicago. They volunteer and choose to give back in North Chicago. Some of our members come from Zion. Some of our members come from Round Lake. A lot of our members come from Waukegan. So you don't have to live in the city of North Chicago. And it's $35 every 3 months.
Okay.
So that's our dues. And, there's some of our members or individuals that want to join, are always concerned because they think, well, I can't come to the meetings. And we always say we appreciate everyone's memberships because the dues still help the club so that we can work on the projects. So that's with the requirements for the Exchange Club. Now, for Lake County Honor Flight, we don't have membership dues yet. We just have volunteers that are helping us. And those meetings for Lake County Honor Flight are also the first and third Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. at the same location as the Exchange Club, which is 1801 Sheridan Road, Suite 103 in North Chicago.
So there's no mandatory attendance then?
No.
The only thing that's mandatory is the $35 every quarter.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we always encourage our members, I always send a text message the night before to remind them, and the majority of our members will always say, I have a prior commitment or this, and some of them may come every couple months. We have a good, probably 15 of them that attend, regularly the meetings. But people help us even when we email, information out to say, hey, I can do this on my end. And that's why we appreciate the membership, because even if you're not able to attend, there's so many other things that can be done behind the scenes.
You have coalition with other organizations too?
Yes, we're working right now with the World War II Black Navy Veterans of Great Lakes. We're looking to possibly merger with them. Their members are much older and, passing away, and they don't want to lose what they have started. They want their memory to be kept alive for many generations. And they are also the owners of the Veterans Memorial Park here in North Chicago. And so we're working with them currently for their fundraiser October 11th at 6 p.m. at the Ramada in Waukegan, and those tickets are $50 donation, and that's for the upkeep of the Veterans Memorial Park. So we're partnering with them, because their members are a little bit older and may not have the energy to run around and pass out flyers and try to sell tickets. So that was a way for us to be able to give back to them. So that's a good partnership with us.
That was a great project too. Another veterans thinking out of the box too by having this memorial there, outstanding memorial there,
yes.
About 18th and Sheridan Road.
Yeah,
I guess,
the address is actually 1815 Sheridan Road, which is on the corner of Sheridan and 18th Street, and that is a memorial that's unique, I think, in the country. And again, Frank Wortham, who was the first member, the charter members for the group and for the memorial, he started door to door, asking for donations. And then in his conversations with people about wanting to have this memorial for those black servicemen in the Navy, he ran across Congressman Mark Kirk, and Congressman Mark Kirk found them a grant to be able to fund the rest of the memorial. So that was a blessing. And they had their unveiling a couple years ago. So it hasn't been up for that long, but it's beautiful. And we try to utilize it as many times as we can. Like I said, we do our memorial services there. We do our honor flight, send-offs are going to be from the park there. And it's an easy, access from 41 and Sheridan Road and everything else. So.
This is fantastic. These are two great projects in North Chicago. If some that I haven't mentioned, I appreciate the call, and I would like to get someone from any other group to come down, the VFW, the American Legion, or whatever, and talk about the services that they're providing, within the city of North Chicago. I'm really excited about the Lake County, the honor flight, the first one in Lake County. And this is just fantastic, recognizing, veterans. Now, the eligibility there for just by being a veteran, is that right? Yes.
So all men and women serving statewide or that served overseas, our hub currently is taking World War II, Korean veterans, and Vietnam veterans. So I'm
a Korean veteran. I should have applied.
You could definitely apply. So we're taking applications from any of these, veterans, and they just have to be willing to go. And we do fly. So as long as you're able to get on a plane, we will figure out a way to get you there. And it's this past trip that we took, we had 6 veterans. Steve Ayagi, who was in the Air Force, and he was a Vietnam veteran. Edgar Douglas, who was a Navy veteran from the World War II. Bernard Hermsen was in the Air Force, and he was a World War II veteran. Mr. William Smith, who was part of the World War II Black Navy Veterans of Great Lakes. He was in the Vietnam War. And Mr. Theodore Hudson was a U.S. Marine, and he was also in the Korean War. And Mr. Harry Fontana was also in the Air Force. And actually, Mr. Harry Fontana and Ted Hudson knew each other when they served, and they had no idea that they were going to be on this first trip together.
Right.
So that was really unique to see. And, we're also grateful because we're looking for guardians. So each one of our veterans is assigned a guardian, or we call them a buddy. And the requirements to be a guardian currently is $400. And that's for a 3-day trip. You can't beat that. So it provides the airfare and the meal for that guardian for the 3 days. And that's pretty much it. We have applications for both guardians and the veterans that you can find on our website, which is www.exchangeclubofnorthchicago.org. Or if you're on Facebook, you can go to Exchange Club of North Chicago. We can get you an application that way. Or they can email us at exchangeclubnorthchicago@comcast.net. And we also do have a phone number for the Exchange Club, which is 224-572-9888. So again, we're encouraging, people that know of a veteran that you think, would enjoy this trip. We're structured a little bit differently from other hubs. So we do take a 3-day trip and not a 1-day trip. And, it's just to make it a little bit easier on the veterans.
Now, there's a lot of activities planned for you for the 3 days out there. You visit the Martin Luther King Jr. memorials.
Several memorials.
And
several memorials on Saturday. They have meals, that are planned and scheduled out. Honor Flight Network members are already there waiting at the airport for them once they get off.
That's fantastic.
They hold a meeting to let the veterans know what to expect, that following day. Because there's a lot of emotions tied into that. And so as guardians, we try to prepare ourselves to be there for the veteran once they visited their memorial, and how to deal with some of those that may not actually be able to make it down, the Vietnam Wall all the way, or, may break down at some point. So, it may be difficult for some people to handle, because, it's not all the time that these guys, some of these, especially the ones that were in the Vietnam War who didn't get a good welcome back, have different emotions than someone that was in the World War II.
What did they try to do? Put the names of all the ones on the memorial wall? The
Vietnam Wall has all the names of those that died, and it's a wall. It's very long, and so on our first trip, we did have a veteran that could not make it all the way down. So learning how to respect how far he can go, and not having to push them, and giving them a little bit of space and stuff like that. But we also train our guardians before we go on what to expect, how what to do in case of A, B, and C. And we have I am the program director for Honor Flight in Lake County. And we have board members, and we have a trip director, which is Lenora Woods. So she handles all the applications. We make sure that everything is kosher, and we have everything, good, and that we can get these veterans without any incident, on the bus, and then to the airport, and then off.
It makes a big difference when you have the mayor of the city, Mayor Leon Rockingham Jr., as a part of the Exchange Club that are supporting you then.
Yeah, no, we definitely appreciate him. And we also have Patricia Jones, who's the Waukegan Township Supervisor. She's on our board as well.
Fantastic.
So we appreciate, our board members and our officers who worked, really hard, and the things that they offer to be able to make things easier for us, especially, currently with our transportation to get the veterans to and from the airport. The Waukegan Township had a brand new bus that was literally just picked up from the manufacturers on that Tuesday before our Friday send-off. And our veterans were the first people to take a trip on their bus to the airport. So we're very grateful to Waukegan Township Supervisor Patricia Jones for that gift.
Does Paula Carballido have any leisure time activities?
You know what? It's funny. People ask me that all the time. I do. I'll say this. This isn't work for me. I always tell people the Exchange Club and Honor Flight are both fun. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but that's why we have enough hands on deck to be able to say, let's split this up evenly. In our meetings, we try to make them fun. We have, food, or we have lunch, meetings, or dinner meetings, or let's meet at so-and-so's house, so that it's not constantly like, okay, agenda strict, A, B, C, go, it's not like that. We make it fun, especially for myself, because I'd be driving myself crazy if everything was like, 1, 2, 3. So, no, I do. I enjoy, obviously anything that has to do with North Chicago activities, whether it's a basketball game or...
If anyone wants to join the North Chicago Exchange Club, they will contact Paula Carballido at what number?
You can contact us at 224-572-9888.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for listening to another awareness session on Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.